Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tutum Talk with Cara and Nance. I'm so excited to have our amazing guest with us today, Heather O'Donnell. Heather, hello. Welcome, my friend.
Hi. Thank you, my friend. It's so good to see you.
So good to see you too. Ugh. All right, listeners, as you know, when we have a guest, we're going to share their awesome bio. So get ready for this one. Like, seriously, hold on to your hats. As I was reading through and prepping for this time together, I was like, oh my goodness. So without further ado, Heather O'Donnell is a fractional COO and Chief Strategy and Operations Officer who partners with visionary founders and growth stage companies to bring clarity, alignment, and operational strength to their next chapter of scale. Through her firm, Elevate and Align Co., she helps organizations transform people, process, and planning into profit, which we can all get behind, building the leadership structure, communication rhythm, and systems that allow growth to feel intentional rather than chaotic. Also amazing. Heather is known for her calm, integrity driven leadership and her ability to bridge strategy with execution. Her deep experience across construction, manufacturing, energy, boutique retail, and wellness brands. She specializes in guiding companies through the messy middle of scaling, where complexity rises and strong operational foundations matter most. People first, always, because without aligned leadership, no process will save you. I love every line in your bio, and that last line, I was like, "Oh, crushed it." Oh my goodness. So epic. And with all of that, is there anything else that you'd like to expand on, share with our listeners so you can
Oh
get to know
gosh,
you a
no,
bit
that was
more?
I was like, "My gosh, that was so long-winded. I shouldn't have done that."
It's
But there's just so
beautiful.
much to say. But no,
Yes.
thank you for reading that. That was really
Of course.
humbling to hear out loud, which I don't think I've heard in a long time. But
It was
it's very
true
easy.
honor to share with our listeners.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
great. I just, it's easy for me to kinda step in and read a room and look and kinda check the people out and how are they operating, and then get into the details where I personally shouldn't be living in the details. I'm not gonna do anybody any good doing that. But I can apply, like, that and the gaps of the company and
Mm,
then start to dig out through all the nerdy stuff where my brain goes. What's missing?
mm,
What's the root cause of the issue? What do we really need as a company to dig out and scale? And by the way, what butts do you have in the seats right now? And how does that need to
mm,
change? It always needs to change.
mm.
Yeah,
Always needs to change.
always needs it needs a change somewhere
Okay.
else you wouldn't need me. If you had the right people in the right seats, then
Mm,
you wouldn't do anything. And,
right,
I'm not there to walk in and tell people what they're doing wrong.
right.
I'm there to just tell them, "Hey, here's how we can pivot or shift," if pivot's no longer a cool word, um, and
I'm
get
all
you
about pivot.
no, I know,
I
I'm like
played basketball back in the day, and a pivot's a really important part of the process. So,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
like we can
Well,
take
I'm
it
always
back to the
learning by way of, like, my stepkids who are in their mid-20s of, "You shouldn't use epic anymore, it's not a cool word." I'm like, "Great. Okay, cool, thanks." So I didn't know if pivot landed there, but yeah.
You're still cool to me.
I know.
Yeah,
It
yes.
just goes.
In fact, you're epic.
Why,
So there you
thank you.
go. You're welcome.
Yeah. So
Oh,
so yeah, so that's it kind of it's a summary of just what I step in and where my nerd brain
yeah.
goes when I step into a room.
I love it. I love it. So I'm curious, like, as we're unraveling this a little bit or unearthing, if you
Yeah.
will, what the question that came in was how do organizations know it's time to reach out to you? Like, is there kind of a through line in the folks who you have partnered with and organizations that you've worked with where it's like it sounds like this, it feels like this, it starts
Yeah.
to look like this?
That's a great question because it's always how do people know if they need you? And what I like to tell people is, pardon my French, I'm from New York, but when the shit is hitting the fan and you're
Please.
frustrated, and
Right.
you're a CEO that's tired of being in the weeds or a leader that's like, I just can't anymore. Like what's next? That tells me that the day-to-day is a bit chaotic. And that's where I need to come
Mhm.
in operationally and say, okay, where are you headed with this business? Where do you want to go with this business? And how do we set you up to get there? And can we set you up
Mhm.
to get there? Sometimes it's a hard conversation of that needs to be parking lotted and you can't do that right now, but here's why.
Mm.
And again,
Mhm.
I'm a consultant, so I can recommend all day long and they can say, I don't want to do that. And it's like, okay, no problem. That's your choice. I respect that. But yeah, when they're pulling their hair out, that's the best conversation I can have with them. Like, call me if you're frustrated.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what's the best way for them to find you?
My website, I'm always on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Probably too much on LinkedIn, but I'm there. I mean, there's multiple streams.
Yeah,
I'm
it can be
everywhere.
addicting, can it, that
I know.
LinkedIn? Like, "Man,
Yeah,
when did this become addicting?" Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Beautiful.
All of it.
Okay.
But yeah.
And for listeners, all of, Heather's information, contact information is gonna be in the show notes, so, if you're not my friends and if you're driving right now, please wait until you pause at a stopping point to go check out said show notes, if you're so inclined to reach out to Heather. Um Okay, beautiful. Did you have anything else? I didn't wanna cut you off.
No, no, no. That was great.
Okay.
Just if people are driving right now and they are frustrated and they hear this and they start spinning on all the things that are irritating them, I would say go to a pause this, go to a voice note immediately, and just do a brain dump of everything that's irritating you. And
Mm.
that goes for home and work because I often meet clients that are very frustrated because things are disorganized at home, and I always tell them if your home life is not your foundation and your base, then I'm not going to be able to help you get your business up and running. So we got to get your house in order first. So,
I just
yeah,
got goosebumps. Yeah,
yeah.
love that.
Go to your
Mhm.
voice notes, scream it out, and then we can talk about it later.
Yes, yes. I when we connected a couple months ago, I remember you sharing about the organization of the home, and I found that so, fascinating and,
Mhm.
beyond applicable
Yeah.
because when they like, I just felt so connected to that truth because I know for me, when I've got some chaos at the home, just even a little bit of clutter, it's really, um, I don't know, just like a beautiful reminder, like, yes, this is important too. This is
Yeah.
you investing in you, even though like completing the dishes or running the vacuum,
Yeah.
like I'm thankful that I have like just like the little robo vac, like,
Right.
thank you.
Which is
Thank you for
amazing.
doing the job. Amazing. The
Yeah.
times that we live in, right?
Yeah.
But those to me feels like simple acts of
Yeah.
care, of self-care
That's
and
right.
home care, and how much of a difference that makes, and on the back end of it, I'm like, "Every time, every
Yeah.
time." So
So
do
let's
you yeah, go
expand on
ahead.
that for a sec, if you
Please.
don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, for
No.
you,
Yeah.
though, that you did a great thing, like, that's a huge piece, and that's a huge win of getting, like, a little robot vacuum, right? Because that's one thing that you can check off the box that you don't have to do, but it's important to you, right?
Mhm.
So, like me, one of my favorite chores is vacuuming because I like seeing the straight, clean lines and everything, of course,
Yeah.
and mowing the
Yeah.
lawn. So I always earmark that as my time, even if it's, like,
Okay.
15 minutes or an hour, that I can go
Yeah.
do that thing, and then I feel really good and
Mhm.
organized after. So for you, yeah, like,
Mhm.
and that's a task that you're like, set it and forget it. I'm done. It's nothing I have to worry about.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and for me, I love doing the dishes.
Oh, there you
Ti
go.
tip of the hat to my mom, and dad, but really my mom, teaching us how she preferred it to be done, and now, like, I'm just wired that way, and the
Yeah.
feeling of accomplishment is probably, like, a little bit of little Cara, feel like, "I did a great job,"
Yeah.
but also,
No.
like, it's yeah, so spick
Yeah.
and so span, like, it's
Yeah.
so, yeah, that feeling of accomplishment, and then to build on that, right?
Yeah.
Creates that momentum.
Now, before
Um,
you go to bed every night, does the house have to be in perfect order before you go to bed, so to speak? Or for the most part?
I find myself in different rhythms throughout the week, and it's interesting how it is, a pretty consistent rhythm. So for me, like, my Friday night is a Thursday. Like, that narrative of Friday night, like, "Woo, let's, like, cut
Yeah.
loose," is a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I just like, there's just something I've for years, I loved Thursdays,
Uh-huh.
and I finally, a couple years ago, looked up the day that I was born. I'm December 15th, 1977. I was like,
Okay.
I just, again, thank you, technology and
Yeah.
the world that we live in. I just, like, went all the way back to that date.
Yeah.
It's like, sure enough, it's a Thursday. I was like, exactly, like, it
There
just
you
feel
go.
Thursdays just feel like a celebration.
There you go.
So sometimes, like, when I'm in that celebration space, like, "Nah, well, it's okay if it's a little," because it's like the party
That's right.
is more important, and then Fridays feel like a Monday in a great way.
Yeah.
Like, I love working late on Fridays.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten into a little bit of trouble with my administrator staying in the schoolhouse a little too late. My background's about 20 years in education, and
Yeah.
I would stay late when everybody else would leave. It was
Yep.
so nice that the building is quiet, and I would just
Yep.
keep grading. I was like, "Oh gosh, it's closing time." Like, I've accidentally set off school alarms because I was still in there just cranking away on a Friday night because it feels like a Monday to me. So,
So you
um,
just did
yeah.
something really great for yourself, though, that I have a lot of clients do is sit down and
Mm,
figure out what times actually work best for you to function in because it's not
right,
9 to 5 for most people. And
right.
even for myself, at the bottom of my emails, I say, hey, you might get emails at strange times because it works for me. Don't
Mhm.
feel the need to respond right away. Respond in a time that works best for you. So you've already, kind of had that off at the pass, which is great.
Yeah, I'm thankful, and then I'm so curious because what I go back to myself, like, Saturday morning always feels I've always said heaven for me is a Saturday morning. There's something about
Yeah.
morning, and then, like, once noon hits, like, all of a sudden, like, it's kinda over.
Right.
But,
Right.
like, you get all your chores again, early days, you get your
Yeah.
chores done. My dad and I would go get a donut together. I was the daughter between 2 brothers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I got, like, daddy-daughter time growing
Yep.
up. Like, we just go get a donut together and then come up and, like, keep
Yep.
chipping away chores, so I've got that kinda rhythm.
Yep.
Um, and I'm curious, like, how does that shape how you work with clients depending on where they are in that awareness, of their own rhythm?
That's a great question too. I knew you're gonna be full of excellent questions today, like deep, really good ones, really
Thank
good
you,
ones.
friend. Thank
So
you.
I have to read the room, so to speak, always, right? And read where
Mm,
they're at because I can't just show up and say, "Well, here's all the stuff I know, and I want to share it with you," and blah, because they're going to be like, "Wait, wait, 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 I'm not there," and some of them
mm,
might not get there. So I like to ride a
sure.
line always of like the intellectual science based stuff and the woo
Mm,
woo stuff because I
okay.
like both worlds, and I'm a big fan of you can have it all and you don't have to choose. That's how I live
Mm,
my life. Like, I want all the
yeah,
things. So when you're a kid and people say, "Hey, what do you wanna be when you grow up?" Like, we should teach them to say, "Well, I wanna be like 5 things, and here's where I'm gonna start," right? And the
mm,
business owners I meet are or leadership teams I meet are no different, right? So I wanna implore on them, say, "Hey, show me where you're at today." And the best
yeah,
way I can do that is, complain to me. Just complain. Just start
mm,
complaining about where you're frustrated, and
yeah,
then I can really hear them. And a lot of times it might not be like, "Oh, I'm really frustrated with this piece of paper." Well, you're frustrated because you don't have the right process in place to support your people to give you the thing. And oh, by the way, your home is a disaster. And we're going to talk about that. And you don't want to. And I know you don't want to, but we're still going to have the hard
mm,
conversation. And you can get mad at me
mhm.
all you want. And then you can complain to me more and we can keep going down this path.
I
So,
love it.
really long
Love it.
winded way of kind of
Love it.
saying, just really get them to get things off their chest
Yeah,
and get to the root cause of where they're living
yeah,
today, where their headspace is. And then we can start to kind of like, oh, hey, by the way, have you heard of human design? You're literally designed to function this way. Um,
mhm,
so some of them might be 9 to 5, and then I might answer them in that moment to squelch some feelings and calm some nerves, and then go back to them
mhm.
later with an email at midnight when I woke up and couldn't sleep. So my prime
There
time is
you
like
go.
like 2 and 4 in the morning, I'll wake up and be like, "Oh, I have this
Yeah.
idea and I have to get it out." So,
Okay.
it depends.
Yeah.
It's a mix of all the things I would say, meeting them where
Yeah.
they're at in the moment, if I can,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then putting deeper intentional thought into it later on.
And what I'm hearing you say that I love, if this aligns with you, is, how you teach them self-grace and
Mhm.
self-compassion through your own actions, like, "Hey, my sweet spot usually is at 2 to 4 AM," and
Mhm.
that's beautiful, like,
Yeah.
this narrative of
Mhm.
have to operate in this certain window
Mhm.
is, disservice.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
line up right? Okay.
It does. I think we were traditionally taught in school systems, which you're so familiar with, right? We were traditionally taught to go in the room and sit in a seat and be quiet and be polite and pay attention and get on board with this. Well, in school, I couldn't sit down for hours on end and
Mm,
just
yeah,
focus. My brain would be all over the place like many of us, right? So, I think you have to meet yourself where you're at and don't beat yourself up for not
mm,
being able to sit still and just focus
yeah,
because not everybody's wired to do that. So, yeah, show yourself some grace. And by the way, life should be fun and work should be enjoyable. And we
yeah.
shouldn't beat ourselves up most of the time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
How do those conversations then transform the, spaces? So, I am I also understanding correctly that mainly you work with the leader and the leadership team, or are you working with the whole organization? Because I'm curious, like, where this question is coming from is how does that take shape in the organization? Like, as you're working with them, what do you see what do you experience as the changes that they're implementing? Through their work with you. I'm so curious. I'm like,
So,
"Oh, I wanna be like a fly in the wall, seeing it how it all,
just
takes shape."
unfolds.
Yeah.
Um, so I go in and again, my process is, first complain to me and
Right.
then show me like it helps me uncover so much. And then I go talk to everybody in the organization. It might be
Mm,
a couple people, it might be 50, and I don't might not talk to all 50 people, but a good bit of the people and just say, "Hey, where are you at? Like what's going on?" Just
yeah.
initially to get their trust though, like honestly, when I step
Okay.
in, they're like, "Oh, you're a consultant. I don't need you. I've
Mm,
got this." And it's like, "Well,
mhm.
most people need me. And I'm not being
Yeah.
guy, they don't need me, they need operations per se and more
Right.
structure and stuff. So I just start really talking to people and getting them to get comfortable and
Mm,
letting them know I'm not here to take your job. I'm here to help you get organized and structured so you can grow and go do big, better things in the world.
mhm.
And that's where it all kinda starts and unfolds. And from there, often where I think we're gonna start is not where we end up starting because you unfold and uncover so many other things going on. So, the frustrations could be you don't have the right people in the right seats, but
Mm,
the people that are in those seats now, it could just be they need to sit down and say, "Hey, where else would you belong in this business? Like, I'm not trying to put you out of
mhm.
work if I don't have to."
Right.
Especially in this climate where just thousands of people are losing their jobs all the time, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and honestly, the hard conversations with that are there are some people that need to get that kick in the butt. And I feel like my
Mhm.
foot could be an extension of the universe saying, okay, you are not in the right place for yourself and you need to go have a different life experience. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
thing.
because the nature teaches us life is about abundance and growth.
That's
And
right.
so when we stay in the safe and what feels safe is oftentimes stagnant,
Yes.
like you
Yes.
said. Yeah,
And
that
some
little
people,
swift
fear
right.
feels safe for them. Like, they're so used to living in
Mm,
fear and being in fight or flight all the time that
yeah.
my job then becomes to have the hard conversations and highlight that and say, "Is this comfortable for you living this way? Because I
Yeah.
don't think it is." And it might give them that shock, but to transform the business, to answer your question, those are the places
Mhm.
that we have to start. And I
Yeah.
get to be a big time disruptor but not
Yeah.
for the sake of pulling the pin on a grenade, throwing it, and running away. It's for the sake of
Right.
transforming your business and the people in it.
I just got the beautiful download to ask this question. I was like, "Wow, okay, we're going there."
Right.
So as you're painting this picture of working with folks, especially with leaders in pretty intimate, vulnerable
Mhm.
conversations,
Yeah.
also known as spaces at times,
Yeah.
What just came in was, d like, do you bring a box of Kleenex or tissues? Because I'd have met and I was connecting with, there have been clients that I've worked with where, it's a full day retreat, it's lunchtime,
Mhm,
and the rest of the team is out at lunch, and
mhm,
the senior leader has come back to just, like, work on email or, and it's
right.
just me and that person in the room.
Mhm.
And they very softly whisper like, "I'm sorry, I'm just not myself today."
Yeah,
It's like, "That's beautiful, like, you're not a robot, like,
right.
no performance needed here, my friend," and just,
That's
like,
right.
you can feel the waterworks just coming through, and I'm
That's
so
right.
like, I'd imagine you have similar experiences where, like, in
Yeah,
that quiet hour because I'm also realizing that download came in to name for listeners, like, if this is really starting to hit,
yeah.
and resonate and touch a
Mhm,
chord, right?
mhm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, you
That's a
needed
good
to hear it,
transformational
right?
moment, and the
Right.
people that don't wanna let those tears fly, typically the men, okay? We gotta call them out and
It
say, "Guys,
happens.
I
It
know
happens, right,
it's macho and you
right,
wanna not cry and let some
right,
tears out," but,
right.
I've had
And women and non-binary, like, it applies to everybody and
it
often,
does,
right? It
but
is,
the
our
bulk
beautiful
of the
gentlemen
ones
out there who
that's
have
right.
learned this performative masculinity and like,
That's
"Ah, you
right.
don't have to."
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
right,
right, and there's women that I meet too, and to your great point of, they're so used to working in their masculine all the time because they are in I come from manufacturing construction, right? That was
right.
the most masculine of the masculine, so I had to remind
Mhm.
myself through by way of my wonderful business coach who helped me figure this out that she's like,
Mm,
"You're trying to blend in and be one of the guys. You're not. You're very distinctly female, and that's okay. Be what you want to be, but be the best version of yourself in that moment. You don't have to blend
mm.
in. You don't have to do all the things." And I'm like, wait, I've been trying to blend in all these years. I don't want to stand out. And she's like, "Well, you can just walk into the room and just be you. How about that?" So she had to
Right.
explain that to me. I'm like, "Oh, yes, that's great." But yes, there is
Mm,
times where you go equipped and say, "Hey, just you and I. Let's just chit chat. Where you at? What's going through your
mhm,
head?" Because what I
mm,
hear is blah 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 blah.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I can get a read on if they're going to put up their, Wonder Woman blockers and be like, "No, I don't want to do that.
Right,
I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk
right,
about it." But it
right.
inevitably opens up a space for them to know that they can come talk about it because
Mm,
whatever you're feeling and going through is affecting your business and your decisions and how you
mhm.
hang on to things. I do meet leaders that every decision must go through me. I'm like, ah, why?
Yeah.
Is it lack of trust? Is it lack of
Mhm,
having the right people in the right spots? Is it a
mhm,
need for control? Are you working in your ego? Um, like we all have an ego. You just
right.
shouldn't lead with it, right?
Like, it's there, it just doesn't need to be driving the bus.
That's
It could be a
right.
passenger, maybe even the back seat, but yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
And that
right.
you're so great at that, right? Like
Oh,
highlighting this
thank you.
empathy and accountability
Oh,
combination in and that's why you and I sat down together and we met
appreciate
and we're like, "Oh, we're just gonna be friends.
Yeah.
This is amazing." Right?
Yes,
Because
yes,
like I
yeah,
get it. I know where you're coming
yeah,
from and I get that. And you
yeah.
naturally when you go into a room and that's why people gravitate towards you because you
Mhm,
have that emanation of, empathy but with
mhm.
responsibility with it and that matters everywhere you go.
Thank you. I'm learning to say thank you,
Yeah,
received. Appreciate
absolutely.
you.
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
I really, deeply enjoyed our time together. So for listeners, the context, Heather, I met for the first time a couple months ago in person, and had breakfast, amazing breakfast, and I think we chatted for, like, 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a while. We just hung
It,
out,
like t
ate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was beautiful, like, it
yeah,
just kept going, like, "Oh my goodness, see,
yeah,
you're coming on the
yeah,
podcast whether you like it or not." No. Yeah, you have choice, but yeah.
yeah.
I'm s it's ugh, so many questions have, kinda like they're just popcorning,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna grab the first one and then, like, whichever one shows itself, back around. I'm so curious when you like, shout out to your coach who offered you that truth to just be you. I was like full body goosebumps,
Yeah.
tuning into that one. Whatever you feel comfortable to share with
Mhm.
listeners, and again, thank you all for tuning in. Like, it's amazing, to be with you in this conversation. So, Heather, when you received that fully and
Mhm.
then applied that wisdom,
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it wisdom to
Yeah.
just be you,
Mhm.
right? Which, can sometimes, sound easier than to do in practice, right?
Yes.
What really stands out to you? What is really left as an impression on you
Mm.
as to what changed in terms of how you navigated work waters and
Mhm.
home waters? Like anything that's really coming through that you would love to share with listeners, like, hey, I encourage you to
Mhm.
try it on for size because this.
Yeah. I would say the very first thing that popped in my head, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
Um, when you pause and decide, I'm just gonna be myself and see what happens,
Mhm.
you are no longer asking for permission to the world around you. And
Mm.
I'm just gonna leave it very simple in that regard because you can often go through life and wait for somebody to give you a nod and wait for this or if you're an employee right now that's listening to this podcast and you're sitting there wondering, gosh, do I wait for permission? That's a hard question to ask yourself because our ego kicks in. And I'm a born and bred New Yorker and you're just raised different up there, right? You're like,
Right,
no, I don't ask permission. I just do what I want. That's not entirely true. There
right.
was there's times in your work life and your relationships where you call it, well, it's respect and there's a
Mm,
hierarchy and there's a pecking order, and it's like, yes, to a degree, I agree with
sure,
that, but
right.
are you just pausing and not doing the thing because you're waiting for someone to tell you it's okay?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I think that if that's
yeah,
the case,
mhm,
then you just need to try to rip the Band-Aid off and thrust that open wound into the fresh air and let it heal, because that's essentially
mhm,
what ripping the Band-Aid off does. And
mhm,
just do the thing. And your only
yeah,
failure is if you don't try. That's your only failure in life. If you don't try at least, then
mhm,
you failed. But if you tried and you fell on your face, cool. Pick yourself
yeah,
up, dust yourself off, and go do it again differently.
yeah, yeah. I love the, metaphor of fail forward.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
exactly.
you're just moving the needle, like, and what are you learning from it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've
100%.
made so many colossal mistakes in my career in life. Like, that's the
Yeah,
best teacher.
yeah,
Fallen on my
yeah.
face 1,000 times. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I'm at the time of this recording, I'm so thankful to say I am 48, that I made it this far, and what an amazing
Yeah.
blessing, and
Yeah.
it's really also it's the 48 in me that I was like, "I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud," and I'm going to, that I look forward to continuing to make mistakes, because
Yeah.
they're not mistake like, it's so beautiful to tune into, like, "Oh, that's where all the amazing golden nuggets come from."
Yeah.
And the wins are they're fun, but the soul development
Yeah.
is on a whole
Yeah.
'nother level when what it feels like right to the ego, what feels like to ego as failure, is like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't think I would have tuned into this," or like all these other times, "I
Yeah.
didn't tune into this part, and man, that's amazing." So,
That's right. That's right. Exactly
yeah,
right. You
I
have it figured out. And by the way, 48, you're a baby. You're still a baby.
received, received. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm gonna take that and put it in my
Yeah, no.
pocket and run.
Yeah, keep that one. You're
Yes.
a baby. Yeah.
I would love to pivot. I think another one of those popcorns, I would love to pivot into you've mentioned human design a couple of times. So
Yeah.
I think listeners know I'm a Gallup certified coach. I use the
Yeah.
Clifton Strengths tool just because it was so informative with my own development personally and professionally. And I've
Yeah.
dabbled a little bit in human design. I have massive respect for it. I think it's
Yeah.
very fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty cool complement too. Like the two complement each other really well.
Yeah.
And I would love to, so curious how using that, do you call it a tool, resource? Like your
Yeah,
perspective. I call the Clifton Strengths assessment a tool. Like it's just another tool in the toolbox for development,
yeah,
not diagnosis. Very
yep,
passionate about
that's
that.
right.
So
Yeah.
curious about human design and how you use that in the business. Yeah,
Yeah,
Anvil.
that's where I combine, like I was saying earlier, my woo-woo side with
Mm.
science, right? Because
Mhm.
I think it's important to do both. No test, like you alluded to, is the ultimate only answer. There's never one answer. I'm a big fan of human design and like culture index and all of those
Mhm.
great things. It gives me such a read on a
Mhm.
person and how they might be responding best. So I have a client right now
Mhm.
that she is a what's designated as a responder. So I know she's going to do best if I fire a bunch of questions at her and then let her think on it and come back to me instead of
Mm.
giving her a to-do list. Here's what I think, and there's nothing to respond to. So I use the
Mm.
tool for those reasons in
Okay.
particular of how we're going to communicate best. And, those
Yeah.
are things you can always feel into. You don't have to have the
Yeah.
tool. It
Yeah.
also helped me understand myself better. And it's free online, right? So
Mhm.
you can just take it, nothing you
Right.
have to pay for.
Right.
And it helped me really develop into, oh, this is why I'm so comfortable walking into a room, but my back has to be in the corner looking out to everybody. And I can read
Yeah.
the room and all the things. So yeah, I
Okay.
love those tools.
Yeah, I'm just curious how long I forget how long have you been, using the tools, and did you, like,
Yeah.
initially bring it to your business, or did you kinda hold off? Yeah,
Yeah,
pure
I brought it with me.
curiosity.
I
Okay.
can't remember where I heard of it, but I was like, "What is this?" And I like
Yeah.
learning from time to time, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I learned of it, and then there's so many layers to it, and then I started
Mm.
introducing it to people around me, and some latch onto it, and some are like, "I think you're a witch. No, that's weird. I can't do that."
Right.
But I've been using
Everybody's on their own journey,
that's
right?
right,
Everybody's on
that's
their own
right.
journey. Right.
And I'm like, "I could be a witch, I would love that." But, yeah, I, probably been using it for, like, 6, 7 years, something like that, and it's
Okay.
just such a telltale
Yeah.
into the inner wirings of whoever you're chit-chatting
Mm.
with and dealing with, so I love it.
Yeah. Cool, very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, so for our fellow listeners out there and especially folks in their leadership roles and even the right manager roles, like people leaders,
yeah,
um, that there's something to be said for, uh, we have resources to support our our alignment, our internal alignment.
yes.
Is that a fair statement?
That's very fair. Yes,
Okay.
there are things out there, and if you lean
Mhm,
a little more science-based, you're gonna
mhm.
go towards a different tool, and that's totally okay. But if you
Yeah.
lean or are even a little bit curious about
Mhm.
your soul work, as I'll call it,
Right.
then I would
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I with that description, I never really thought of myself as more science leaning, and I think I am. My undergrad was kinesiology,
Yeah.
my,
Yeah.
graduate was social justice education, um, and I do find myself leaning more towards the science side of things
Yeah.
and consistently curious.
That's right.
About like, huh, and I think that's why human design especially really piques my interest,
Mhm.
It's like, it's because from my understanding, you punch in like, um, it's best to know not only the day that you were born, location,
Yeah.
but also time.
That's right.
I was like, "Wow, I have to go get my like, thank goodness I even know how to find my birth certificate."
Right.
I was like, "Oh, jeez."
Like, uh-oh.
I thought that was really, really interesting to add those components
Yeah.
to the conversation,
Yeah.
Like, and with everything, my, grandfather on my mom's dad always said, "Everything in moderation." And
Yes.
so I think there's that element to this as well. And,
There
like,
does.
right, to thine own self be true, like
That's right.
tune into like,
Feels
what
good.
resonates for you, yeah, and then, like, you can like, pitch the rest or,
Yeah.
like, put it off to the side, and maybe it'll feel applicable later, like, who knows, like
I'm
you
always
said, have
curious
fun with it.
about that too, is how many people listening to this right now, right? Or
Mhm.
when it gets released rather. How many
Right.
people are comfortable, let's say in business saying, "Huh, when's the last time I went with that feeling I had instead
Right,
of,
right, right.
what somebody's telling you to do or whatever. Like how does your feeling in business? Because I
Right.
truly believe we need to bring more feels into business,
Yeah,
because it's about being human at the end of the
yeah,
day, amongst all the AI and the tech, which is also great. But you still want to humanize the workplace.
yeah.
And to do that, you have to be comfortable or get comfortable bringing your feelings and asking those questions. And I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many times I've hired somebody based on having a phenomenal gut feel, and they turned out to be, they might not have known exactly the job, but if you have the right attitude,
Uh,
then I can teach
uh,
you the job. Then you're
right.
absolutely learnable, right? So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
it was a successful hire going off
yeah,
of your intuition, yeah.
yeah,
So even though they
absolutely.
didn't tick all the boxes, like, your intuition was like, "This is spot on," and it
Yeah,
turned out really successful.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So I wonder how many
um,
people really bring those
yeah,
feelings, those gut feelings or
right.
intuition into work.
I'm going to, do a little Tutum Talk promo right now, like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna name
do it.
it. It's of course, you just said that, like, Allah, universe,
Right.
spirit, right? Like,
That's right.
God, whatever one wants to call it. Poetically, I just released, so this was episode 29, I believe. So for listeners, if you go back, I believe it's episode 29, and it was a solo pod, and I spoke exactly about that because I love working, especially in my one-on-one coaching
Yeah.
sessions. I love working with leaders or, like people managers, anybody in a leadership, people leading role who on the outside, they are cool as a cucumber
Mhm.
and like look like they have it all together. And on the inside are still wondering like, did they pick the right person?
Right.
Are we sure that I'm the right person for the job?
Right.
Or if I can even pull this off. And I find that uh, when we start to even just take a moment to tune in to intuition, like, just a like, soak up the data, of course,
Yeah.
it's not about either or, like you said, it's a blending of both, like, yes,
Yeah.
have the information in front, like you said, with this hire, okay, here is, like, where they tick the mark, this
Yeah.
is or check off the mark, and here's where they don't,
Mhm.
and still take a moment to breathe, tune in, and if it feels like a heck yes, like, there's just something here, I cannot name it,
That's
it's
right.
your intuition, and that I encourage, and it sounds like you were saying the same, that we encourage you to lean into that. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think our confidence in leadership
Mhm.
increases when we honor that we have this gift, that
Mhm.
faculty, one of our 6 intellectual faculties that Bob Proctor teaches is
Mhm.
intuition.
That's right.
Like, it's
That's right.
and that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom, like, we were
Yeah,
given these
exactly.
gifts on
Exactly.
purpose.
It is
So,
a gift. You frame
yeah,
that perfectly. It's a gift.
yeah.
But yeah, I love that you teach that everywhere you go. I feel like you it's such a good lesson for everybody. And the
Mm.
people that I want the people listening that if they tighten up when they hear that, then lean in harder. Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, like, if you get rigid and you're like, "I don't know,
Right,
like, I'm
right,
good where I'm at," I bet you you're
right.
not. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
That's that little flag, like,
yeah.
"Actually"
If
another
your
opportunity
body's
for a pause and a voice memo. Feel free
That's
to,
right,
like, swear to the day is long and,
that's right,
yeah, then
that's
reach out to
right.
Heather. Like, you can reach out to me, but I'll probably just be like, here's Heather." Uh,
Yeah, it's,
I
but all good opportunities, right?
Right, right,
Yep.
absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, let's decrescendo this one, this time around with any. I hate to say parting words, like but like anything that you really that's coming up for you, that's really uh, rising to the surface that you want to share with listeners. That 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 maybe yeah, this just came in that one of those, like, you wish you had known,
Oh, so much, oh my gosh.
right?
I think everybody
Yeah.
gets to a certain time in their life, and like, "Gosh, I wish I would have done that differently." So
Mm.
having said that so many times, I will say don't quote unquote, don't should all over yourself,
Mhm.
right? Don't say, I
Mhm.
should have done this. I should have done that. You're where you're supposed to be. You're there for a reason, but
Mhm.
be eyes wide open, ears wide open, and maybe mouth shut and just look around and feel and listen and do all the things and don't beat yourself up. There's no good that's
Mhm.
going to come from that.
Right.
Don't should all over yourself.
Yep. Yep.
um, it's not worth it. But yeah, look forward
Yeah.
and just be ready. And I truly believe that with all the business talk that we have on here, combined with the intuition and all the feelings, that what's meant for you will be for you.
Yes, I'm about to snap on that little poetry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Truth.
Yeah.
Truth, truth. And the last little bit that, as you were sharing what came in, and I feel now it's kind of like an oldie and a goodie in a beautiful way. And that is to your point of, please do your best to refrain from beating up on yourself, like the
Yeah.
browbeating. It's such a waste of such beautiful finite energy that
Yeah.
that could be used in such other beautiful ways. And
Yeah.
if that's a learning curve or a practice curve for you out there, if
Mhm.
you're listening right now, like yeah, that's a growth area. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to share it with us out loud. Just
Right.
like if you're like, yeah, no, truth, that's an area of improvement over here. The, practice that I offer, and I also hear other folks teaching it, I was like, "Good, I'm thankful," like, the word's getting around, and that is, if you tune into what you are saying to yourself, like, just pause for a second and actually listen to
Mhm.
the internal narrative,
Mhm.
and then imagine a younger person who you really care about in your life right now, so a niece, a nephew, a neighbor kiddo, maybe one of your own children,
Mhm.
right? Just a wee little one.
Mhm.
Even better if you're able to imagine yourself as a wee little one, but sometimes that like takes some folks, our
Right.
fellow
Like,
friends
oh,
out there over the edge, like, whoa, we're too
yeah.
close. They're like, okay, cool. Like, let's go back to just a wee little one.
Yeah.
And if you heard somebody else talking to that wee little one the way you are talking to yourself,
That's
I
right.
guarantee you would not stand for it. You would probably, like, be ready to get pretty, fired up is
Yeah.
I'm more of a Midwest kid. I'm a military brat who ended up in Chicago, north suburbs of Chicago. So I was
Right.
like, I don't swear as much, and that's beautiful, but, like, I love that Heather's like, "I'm gonna bring it." Yes.
Yeah.
But either way, like, whatever's coming up for you when you imagine having that kind of interaction
Mhm.
where if somebody's talking to the little one, like, tune into that
Right.
because that's what you are feeding to yourself, and it
Yeah.
doesn't it doesn't need to be that way. It's okay that it is right now. I think
Yeah.
that's another really important piece, so for our listeners who, um, if this feels like such a stretch and such a struggle, that's
Mhm.
beautiful. Like,
Right.
awareness is the first step.
Mhm.
That's great,
Absolutely.
and then you've got Heather and you've got myself. We're here for you, and so
Yeah.
many other friends out there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. This has been so fantastic. I always love chatting with you. I'll take that
same.
opportunity anytime I get it. And then
Awesome.
yeah, we'll meet up and go eat some good food soon again.
Yes, absolutely. Ugh, I'm very much looking forward to that. All right,
Yes, me too.
Heather, thank you again so much for being on Tutum Talk, and we'll definitely see you at the next one. All right.
Sounds great. Thanks, Cara. I
All right.
appreciate you.
We'll see you.
All right. Bye.
Absolutely. Same. Bye. Hey, everybody. Wow. That conversation with Heather O'Donnell, owner and creator of Elevate and Align Co. She is so, when I say salt of the earth, I don't often share that description and offer that description about many folks who I know and meet along my journey in this gift called life. And Heather is definitely one of those humans who she's just salt of the earth. I was thinking about it. I have a couple of thoughts from our conversation, and before I get into that, I wanted to offer the context of how she and I met, and reminding myself, like, wow, yeah, she literally had me at hello in that she reached out on behalf of a friend and a business community partner. She reached out to me on behalf of this other woman, I think on LinkedIn, maybe email. Like Heather did her homework on behalf of supporting someone in business who she truly believes in the gift that this person has. And that person was, as we do sometimes, shying away a bit in the corner. And Heather's like, no, you need to get out there, my friend. Like, what can I do to support you to get out and bring your brilliance to the world? And that's how Heather and I met. She introduced herself and her friend colleague, and the journey started from there. So I was thinking about, I think it's a pretty popular quote, but that is also in the circles that I run in and the content that I gravitate towards. But Dr. Maya Angelou's insight and wisdom that she shares, that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And Heather showed me who she is by reaching out on behalf of her friend and business, not quite business partner in terms of their formal working together relationship, but a partner in championing each other's work, and especially women championing women. And it's like, yes, I am. I'm here for the conversation. Let's do this. And then Heather and I did go, and as we alluded to in the podcast episode, we did go and meet up in person, IRL, in real life, a couple of months ago, and it was instant appreciation, instant connection, like ideas of fireworks. I hope that you have had this experience, and hopefully many times have had this experience where when you meet someone and you instantly connect, and you within minutes are already coming up with ideas on how to do our part in making the world a little bit like even more enjoyable, even more fun, even more impactful with the gifts that we have. That was Heather's and my first first meeting and first conversation. So I am so honored that she came onto the pod. She pours so much value into my cup, and I know that she poured value into yours as you listen through the podcast episode. And definitely reach out to her. If I'm going on record here that I look forward to working with her and her company as Tutum Leadership scales in the days, months, and years ahead, to make sure that we're scaling with ease, scaling with beyond thoughtfulness, with ways of being mindful of the whole human, and with great impact. And I know working with Heather that those goals will be accomplished. So if that's resonating for you, and you now need in your business development and business journey, definitely reach out to her. Or as I say that, and you think of somebody that, like, actually this person, I've heard them talk about how they just haven't quite gotten the rhythm yet on scaling purposefully, and not necessarily always with ease, but a feeling of a cadence, a rhythm, and fully supported. If people are coming to mind who have expressed wanting that and needing that, I encourage you to connect them with Heather. And then switching gears to within the episode itself, I loved how much she reinforced. There were so many beautiful golden nuggets throughout our conversation. I'm going to highlight how much she reinforces and how much she and I align on bringing your authentic self. I deeply appreciate that she and I also connect that there are multiple tools available for professional and personal development. My favorite tool to use is Clifton Strengths. It is where I found the most impact on both my personal and professional life. And for me, it is fun when I then have somebody who is trained in human design, like Heather, brings the human design tool into her client experience. And it's like, yes, right on. That's beautiful. And when I've worked with my human design, the results, it's just fun to bring all the pieces together. So I'm all about what resonates for you and what feels like the strongest alignment for you. And that's beautiful. For me, it's Clifton Strengths, formerly known as Strengths Finder, out of Gallup, which is GALLUP, the folks who create the Gallup polls. Same same people. And then honestly, internal family systems. So I know that there's a lot of different therapeutic approaches to self-healing and self-development and creating, as I reinforce on a consistent basis, the importance for that self-grace and that self-compassion. And those two tools are what I access. I was about to say and lean into it so much more now, accessing internal family systems and my Clifton strengths, and because it is where I find the most insights and the quickest connections for me. So I also really appreciate that the Gallup tool, now called Clifton Strengths, tunes into and identifies patterns of thought and behavior. So it's about you and those innate patterns of thoughts and behavior. The assessment itself is 177 questions, I believe. So 177 items, and it is timed 20 seconds each. For those who would appreciate the opportunity to take the assessment without the timers, because that's more conducive to your experience of success, that it's a overall intuitive process. You just reach out to Gallup support or reach out to me. I can help you navigate those waters. But the Heather's offer and my support of her invitation to embrace your authenticity, I find is much easier to do when you actually know yourself in a clear way, in an even more clear way. Some of us have a lot of piles on top of our true self, and those piles are years of perspectives and opinions and voluntold on how to be. Like it's so much more than just a suggestion on how to be. Many of us were raised with, well, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. And so this tuning into who you actually are and embracing your authentic self, there's many fellow human beings out there who that is such a stretch right now to even begin to name who I am at my authentic core. So if that's resonating for you, definitely reach out to me. I would love to work with you and get you connected with the Clifton Strengths Assessment and begin those conversations on what feels true to you from everything that is offered after you complete the assessment and your results. What's actually resonating for you? And that's the starting place on connecting with your authentic self. That's one of many starting places. That's how I approach the work. Like, let's get some tangibles and then try on the different outfits. What really feels like a fit for you. And then when it doesn't, practicing that self-grace and that self-compassion, which oftentimes results into more confidence because you own you a bit more. You are then able to name even more clearly what is true for you and also what is not. And that's okay. That's beyond okay. That's beautiful. That's the point with this beautiful journey. So if you found yourself in many you should do this, you should be that, and you are now at the point growing up with so many of those perspectives and sometimes demands of you, and it's no longer feeling like you, yet you don't quite know where to turn next. Turn next to setting up some time with me. I would love to explore and see how I can best support you. And if we aren't feeling like a fit, I also am connected with it's beautiful. It's growing more and more network of coaches and folks in support roles who it might be an even better fit. So go ahead and schedule some time. We'll connect and see where the journey goes. All right, my friends, I miss you already, and I will see you at the next one. Mwah.